So is this on? Can you hear it? Okay, good. Maybe I need to get closer. All right, good morning. So I am Cory. My pronouns are she, her, and I look forward to sharing today's leadership with Reverend Bran Lennox, Yvonne DuVal, and the UCH choir. Yeah. Whoever you are, wherever you live, whomever you love, whatever you do for a living, you are welcome at the Unitarian Church of Harrisburg. We invite you to join us for coffee hour following this morning's service, either downstairs or on Zoom. I invite you to take this moment to hold our space here as sacred by silencing your electronic devices and preparing yourself to be present. Online or in person, we are grateful for you at this time.
Each week, it is our tradition to light a chalice which casts a circle of light to hold us all. As we create anew the symbol of our shared faith, let's reflect on these words by Kimberly Ann Tomchak Carlson. We are a people of memory. As inheritors of our ancestors' legacy, we hold their stories tenderly, gleaning wisdom from diverse journeys, united in hope for the future. Guide us to trust in love as we kindle this flame together.
Our hymnals draw from a rich variety. Let's try this again. Our hymnals draw from a rich diversity of culture and spirituality. Just as we each learn and grow throughout our lives, our living tradition is also stretching and being reimagined. Our hymnals have certainly evolved over time, and they continue to do so with the much anticipated launch of our new virtual hymnal at this summer's General Assembly. Favorite hymns will remain, and many new tunes will be introduced to our liturgy. Unlike its hard or soft cover predecessors, the virtual hymnal will truly be that of a living tradition, with music being added and sometimes removed. Therefore, some of the music we offer today is not found within the bindings of our gray or teal hymnals. They offer a taste of what could be. Several months ago, in preparation for this service, I posed 2 simple questions for our beloved choir members. What is your favorite hymn? And is there a particular reason this hymn is so important to you? With almost 40 choir members, we certainly don't have the time capacity to share every single favorite. However, there were 2 themes that emerged. First, there were many clear favorites with no deeper meaning rather than loving the tune or it's fun to sing. Second, the stories that were shared were all connected by a single word, journey. It is this journey that has brought us each to this place today, here in this precise moment. And so, as we sing, I invite you to harmonize, hum, sway, or close your eyes and feel the rhythmic pulses. Congregational singing is beautiful in that we all contribute and participate simply by our presence in this sanctuary. Each of our voices are unique. Some of us may be seasoned vocalists, and yet some of us may struggle to find the correct pitch. Yet there's a certain beauty in what is sometimes a cacophony of sound when we release and sing with wild abandon, celebrating how music can reach parts of our soul that words may not. Our weekly ritual of joys and sorrows will actively take place throughout our service. Whenever you feel moved, you're invited to come forward and honor whatever you are holding by placing a stone into the water of community. You may share your joy or sorrow by writing them on a slip or typing them in the virtual chat. Please indicate whether your message is okay to share out loud. This past week has been particularly difficult for many of us, with fears of the unknown and for the safety of our family, friends, or even ourselves. May you find solace and comfort in today's music. May you also find joy through music, as joy is an act of resistance. For those holding marginalized identity, your very existence is an act of resistance. Please join me in singing hymn number 1, May Nothing Evil Cross This Door, whose tune signaled the beginning of our services here at UCH for many years.
So today's story is titled The Noisy Paint Box, The Colors and Sounds of Kandinsky's Abstract Art. I'll begin our story. Vasya Kandinsky spent his days learning to be a proper Russian boy. He studied bookfuls of math, science, and history. He practiced piano skills to the marching click of the metronome. He sat stiff and straight at dressed-up dinners while the grown-ups talked and talked and talked. Vasya's well-off world was perfectly polite until the day his aunt gave him a small wooden paint box. Every proper Russian boy should appreciate art, said Auntie. She showed Vasya the correct way to mix colors on the paint box palette. Vasya mixed red with yellow, then he mixed red with blue. As the colors changed, Vasya heard a whisper. Hiss, louder hiss, then louder still, hiss. What's that sound? Asked Vasya. I don't hear a thing, said Auntie. Vasya listened as his brush stirred and swished. The swirling colors trilled like an orchestra, tuning up for a magical symphony. Mama, Papa, called Vasya. What a noisy paint box. Silly Visya, said Papa. Stop being foolish, said Mama. Vasya painted the same sound of the colors. He spun a bright lemon circle onto the canvas. It clinked like the highest note on the keyboard. He brushed a powerful navy rectangle that vibrated deeply like the lowest cello strings. He tossed up jagged swashes of blaring crimson and added cheerful dots of burgling green, a clanging orange, and a tinkling violet. Vasya painted and painted until all the colors went quiet. Look what I made, said Vasya. Is it a house? Asked Auntie. Is it a flower? Asked Mama. What's it supposed to be? Asked Papa. It's music, said Vasya, waltzing his painting around the house. Calm down, said Mama. Do some math, said Papa. Heavens, said Auntie, that this boy needs a proper art class. So Vasya went to art class and learned to draw houses and flowers, just like everyone else. As the years passed, Vasya finished school and studied to be a lawyer. He ignored his noisy paint box and lived the way people expected. But Vasya couldn't ignore the sounds of the colors singing to him in the streets of Moscow. The canary-colored mailbox whistling as he rode to work. The scarlet sunset haze ringing above the ancient Kremlin walls. An ivory course of snowflakes scattered on the sable collar of his overcoat. One evening, suitably steamed and starched, Vasya attended the opera. As the orchestra's music crashed around him, the colors of the noisy paint box twirled wildly in his mind. Stomping lines of vermilion and coral, caroling triangles in pistachio and garnet, thundering arches of aqua and ebony with shrill points of cobalt and saffron. Vasya heard the colors singing. He heard the music dancing. And Vasya was never quite as proper again. He quit his job teaching law and moved from Moscow to Munich to be a painter. He studied with this famous teacher and that one. Vasya wanted to paint the colors that he heard, but maybe the famous teachers knew best. Once again, Vasya put houses and flowers and animals and people into his painting, just like everyone expected. The teachers were very happy. He was not. His artist friends understood. They too were tired of painting pretty landscapes and pretty ladies. They thought art needed to be changed. Art should make you feel, Vasya told them, like music. Exactly, said his friends, but none of them knew how to paint feelings. Until one day, Vasya grew brave enough and invited the world to see the paintings roaring from his noisy paint box. Hiss, rattle, bash, whistle, zip, murmur, clang, snapping cerulean points, crunching crimson squares, and whispering charcoal lines. Vasya named these paintings after the music that he loved. Improvisation, composition, accompaniment, fugue, movement, and simply 3 sounds. With his noisy paint box, Vasya created something entirely new, abstract art. It took a long time for people to understand. Is it a house? Is it a flower? What's it supposed to be? It's my art, Vasya answered. How does it make you feel? So, in the spirit of today's story, our kids and those young at heart are invited to come forward during the musical pieces to draw on our windows over here in the front using our special chalk markers. And again, I want to specify we're using special chalk markers on the windows. Yeah. You are invited to listen. Let the music flow through your body. Let the music inspire your drawing. And in case we run out of space, we also have a table with markers, regular markers, set up front for you, where you will find the regular Crayola markers. So we have room for everybody. Thank you.
I'm Libby Tisdale, and I use she, her pronouns. Hey. And in the summer of 2012, I walked the Camino de Santiago, the 500-mile pilgrimage from Saint-Jean-Pied-de-Port in France to Spain, to Santiago, Spain. It's a very well-known Christian pilgrimage. It was hard. And when you do something like that, you have to prepare for it, both spiritually and physically. The physical part is probably fairly obvious, so I'm not going into that. But the spiritual part, there were 2 things that I did. One is I was guided by a secular phrase and a sacred phrase. The secular phrase was from the book by Paulo Freire and Miles Horton. Miles Horton was the founder of the Highlander Folk School in Tennessee, where Rosa Parks went before she ever sat down at the back of the bus to learn how to be an activist. But the name of the book is We Make the Road by Walking. It's a talking book. It's a wonderful book. I'd really encourage you to read it if you haven't. The other phrase I was guided by was one of the Beatitudes. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called the children of God. And the reason I was guided by that one is Neil Douglas Klotz, who's a writer, says that actually means, blessed are they who plant peace each season. And so that became for me, what would it mean to plant peace in every step of my walk? So after I finished and I came home, I was playing my guitar one day, and this song popped out. And so I'm going to invite you to sing the song, and the first verse, we'll just sing it in unison, and after that, feel free, if you feel a harmony, to sing it. And Chris is going to join us on the hope verse, and then get really raucous on the joy verse when we come back to the peace verse. So please join me. And also, part of the reason I did the pilgrimage was so I could learn to live life as pilgrimage. And so that got me through my journey with ovarian cancer. And also this past couple of weeks when all of us might be worried, it helps me figure out maybe there's a lesson in this, and maybe it will teach me more about sending loving kindness to the whole world. So please join me.
This song, How Could Anyone, speaks to the connection between my wife and I and the love, support, and acceptance that I feel from UCH. She and I feel every word as a symbol of commitment to each other, as this was sung at our wedding.
Spirit made a place for you where everything is new. Spirit made a place for you where everything is new. Spirit made a place for you where everything is new. Love has made a place for you where everything is new. Love has made a place for you where everything is new. Love has made a place for you where everything is new.
Grace has made a place for you where everything is new.
At 89 years old, my grandfather achieved his lifelong dream of becoming a U.S. citizen. During that same year, he shared with my mother, who was also his caretaker, that he would not live to see his next birthday. He was tired and ready to be reunited with the love of his life. Soon thereafter, Dean and I visited my parents' home to share the news that I was pregnant with our child. He promptly declared that he had the energy to stick around for a bit. He was determined to meet his great-grandchild. Taryn and Poppy became incredibly close and absolutely adored each other. At 94 years old, he was moved into hospice. As our family gathered through his final days, 4-year-old Taryn was constantly being reminded to only hug him gently as he was in a tremendous amount of pain. Upon his last breath, and surrounded by the quiet sounds of sobbing, Taryn boldly asked if she could finally give him a real hug without hurting him. She embraced him completely unafraid and grateful for the last tender moment. I first heard Nada Teturbe in 2020 and was captivated by the beautiful melody and soaring descant lines. It reminded me of my time in El Salvador visiting my grandparents and the importance of their Catholic faith. The lyrics translate to, "Nothing can trouble, nothing can frighten. Those that seek God shall never go wanting. Nothing can trouble, nothing can frighten. God alone fills us."
During the second semester of my Master's of Divinity studies, I took the required course UU History and Polity. I slogged through the preparatory reading, participated enthusiastically in class discussion, and with a week left in the semester, I was well on track to pass the course. When it came time to start writing our final papers, and we were set loose in the Meadville Library like the pack of feral seminarians we were. 4 months later, I turned in my paper, at last, and my grade was amended from an incomplete to a pass. I looked back on my notes for this 10-page history paper and discovered I had taken over 400 pages worth. As always a hymn lover, the assignment had activated a burning excitement in me to explore the depth of the history of Unitarian Universalist hymnody. I'm going to contain myself today and not keep you here for an extra half hour explaining hymns to you. However, I do have one incredible discovery to share. The existence of the Unitarian Universalist faith is due in part to the creation of our hymnals, and in particular, the creation of a children's songbook. Some of the primary collaborations between American Unitarians and American Universalists in the early 20th century were in the co-commissioning of service materials and songbooks. Universalist and Unitarian hymnists and religious educators joined together on shared committees to produce these hymnals. And the first major project was to create the Beacon Song and Service Book for Young People, a popular resource in Unitarian and Universalist Sunday school classrooms across the nation in the 1930s. In the 1950s, we commissioned another joint hymnal for young people called We Sing of Life. And these collaborations led the two denominations closer in mission and identity as the children who had been raised on these shared materials, and in some cases in shared classrooms, grew into adulthood and into faith leadership. Our faith voted to merge from two Christian denominations into the unique religion we represent today in the year 1961. It is not lost on me that many of the adults who took part in the first UU General Assembly would have grown up singing together, whether in the same classrooms or unknowingly from afar, but from the same books. Music has power. Singing together changes us. It brings us closer in alignment with our profound interconnectedness. Our breathing and heartbeats synchronize. Our minds explore shared words and rhythms, shared emotions, and we fully embody the exploration through our participation. On a subconscious level, we might begin to understand ourselves and each other as one, transcending the divisions of selfhood. Singing together has the power to sustain us in hard times. Workers doing difficult labor have often sung together to ease and synchronize their efforts. All around the world, humans throughout history have sung while hunting, farming, sailing, ranching, felting. You name it. Work songs sung by enslaved and indentured workers also serve the purpose of keeping hope alive, sometimes carrying encoded messages to others, sometimes simply asserting the irrevocable humanity of the singers. Music has power. At my first AUM conference, that is the Association of Unitarian Universalist Music Ministries conference in 2017, presenter Yara Allen gave an unforgettable series of lectures about the use of music in the abolition, civil rights, and modern-day protest movement continuum. One story she shared that has stuck with me was about the power of song during planned civil disobedience arrests. She talked about the strategy of continuing to sing no matter what was happening. Singing while being cuffed and transported by police, singing in the holding cells, how singing would emotionally disarm the police as they weren't sure how to respond to it, about waiting outside the station while fellow protesters were being booked and continuing to sing loudly so that those inside could hear they were not alone. In the times ahead, just like throughout all of history, we are going to need the power of song. We will need it to sustain us when we are exhausted. We will need it to wring us out when we are grieving. We will need songs of fierce, defiant celebration. We will need songs to remind us of beauty and goodness. We will need songs to remind each other that we're not alone. We will need songs to bring us together and teach us that we are one, that we share a common purpose and commitment. We will need the songs of the children among us to teach us how to meet tomorrow as it comes. My friend and colleague Matt Meyer introduced me to this song, and I always hear it in his voice, although it was originally written by a different guy named Matt, last name Bolton. The words come to me as a sort of prayer frequently. We are going to a place where music falls and fills up everything. And though it might be a long time, I know it's going to be all right because we've already started to sing.
In the summer of 2002, just before I moved to Pennsylvania from Chicago, I went to that kind of store that's difficult to find these days, a music store, and to search for another unicorn, a new CD for my drive to Pennsylvania. The title song of the jazz CD by Renee Marie that I found that day was How Can I Keep From Singing?, the alternate title for our next hymn. Renee starts her version of the song sedately, but then moves into a much more upbeat Belafonte-type rhythm. For a different twist on this old hymn, look up Renee Marie on YouTube and How Can I Keep From Singing? Not long after that, my mother died of cancer. She had instilled in all four of us kids a great love of music, and she was still singing, or when she couldn't, encouraging us to sing for her the last few weeks by her hospital bed. I sang this song to her not long before she died. After she died, the four of us struggled mightily to find just a few songs to encapsulate her life at her memorial service. My siblings didn't know our hymn number 108, but once I showed them the words, they too were convinced, and it was sung at her funeral. A year or two later, when I started attending UCH, the fact that this song was in our hymnal was one more confirmation that I was where I was supposed to be.
All
sorrows to share with you this morning. Hannah Belser shares, "It is with deep sorrow that I tell you of the unexpected passing of my friend and companion of many years, Wally Winkler. Though we have not been together for several years, I find myself grieving the loss of one that I still love. Peace to you, my love." From Jesse McCausland, "My Aunt Virginia Cruz passed away suddenly but peacefully Thursday morning." Erica Duran, "Deep sorrow for families of the 1,187 refugees we welcomed in Harrisburg and my colleagues, and hope for those who remain here for our employment and mental health." Miles, "I am tired." One of our choir members shares, "Growing up, there are a couple of truths I believed about myself. I ask too many questions and come to a very different conclusions than ones I was supposed to have learned from the religion and politics I grew up with. It felt like I was always slightly off rhythm from everyone else. I thought no one else feels a shiver from a beautiful piece of music, gets lost in a star-filled sky wondering about the universe, or finds peace in the power of the ocean. As I've gotten older, I've worked to question some of my old beliefs and decided to give a church community a try again by coming to UCH. One day, we sang Blue Boat Home, and I was floored that that song exists in a hymnal. It felt like a sign that I had finally found the right place, one where I can keep asking too many questions and find powerful beauty in astronomy, the ocean, and music with all of you."
Still my joy and
DuVal. It's good to have you back, Sharon and Dan. From Bastion, led a role-playing game with neuroqueer individuals yesterday at the LGBTQ game cafe, the Midnight Oil in Lancaster. Felt a very safe sense of community and saw a friend I hadn't seen in over 10 years. From Wenji in Haiti. Good morning, everyone, my sisters and brothers. I hope you are all fine. I am very, because I have the opportunity to be in the service with you today.
The Unitarian Church of Harrisburg is, as always, an intentionally gathered congregation of freely thinking, loving people. The church is created, sustained, and supported by us. Each month, we share half of our Sunday plate with a local nonprofit organization. For the month of January, we are sharing with the CWS Harrisburg. CWS Harrisburg supports refugees as they resettle, integrate, and thrive by offering programs and projects that encourage self-sufficiency. They are the largest resettlement agency in central Pennsylvania. CW Harrisburg provides special services to refugees within a 100-mile radius of Harrisburg, and in their most recent fiscal year, they served 935 legally arriving refugees from 15 countries. If you wish to contribute online, a QR code is provided on the back of your order of service. Your financial support and commitment matter. Please consider giving what you are able.
These gifts to the work of this congregation, weaving a tapestry of compassion and action, faith and fellowship, hope and wholeness.
Come now, fount of every blessing, tune our ears to sing thy praise. Streams of mercy never ceasing, all the songs of loudest praise. While the hope of life's perfection fills our hearts with joy and love.
Please remain standing to receive these benediction words offered by Don Shea Cooley. Let us go out into the world singing songs that proclaim liberty, songs that turn ashes into garlands, songs that bind up the afflicted and those who mourn, songs that, like oaks, have roots that go deep and stand strong. Let us go out into the world singing. We know these songs. They vibrate through time in our very souls. They are the songs that give us life. They are the songs that give us meaning. They are the songs that give us purpose. Now it is our turn to take these life-giving songs out into the world. Let us go now, singing these songs with voices deep and strong. And may the world join us in praise and in celebration and in love.